I think for a lot of people exploring non-monogamy, it is a chance to have experiences that they never thought they were going to be able to have.
Humiliation is its own thing, like under BDSM, and then cuckolding is just like the monogamy, polyamorous, swinging, or one-way open relationship, which is cucking. So like those are like there's a Venn
I don't think
diagram
I
there.
agree with this.
Okay.
I don't
I
think
would
I agree with
disagree.
this. I feel like if we go to if we grow to a society where like monogamy is not the norm, I think absolutely then humiliation is not part of it. But I think just the concept alone of letting somebody fuck your significant other is humiliation.
Anyways, looks like everybody's here. So maybe we can get into introductions and stuff if you guys want, you know.
Sure.
Yeah. All right,
Yum,
let's
yum,
go
yum.
around. We'll start with Cherry.
Hello, I'm Cherry. Super interested in this topic. I've been actually researching it myself for like the past couple of weeks. I do consider myself somewhat of a cuck queen, if you would, and I'm really intrigued to see what everyone else's take on it is.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Awesome.
Well, now you do. I thought you were just like in my head or something. I'm like, wow, Star, this is perfect. Thank you.
That's awesome. Okay. Person going by Cucky, if you wanted to introduce yourself.
Hey, Doopy sent me out a notification to this panel, so I thought I'd be interested in talking about my experiences with being a cuck and doing Switch and any other dynamics that come from it. So I would be discussing, that perspective of someone who enjoys being the cuck.
Awesome. Okay, Flosney.
Hello guys, I'm Flosney. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter and all that things with my hot and spicy takes. I am definitely a cuck. I appreciate the dynamic of it. Some people call it stag vixen, hot wife. I don't really care too much about the specifics of it. I just really like the dynamic, as like Stardust was talking about before, of like that patriarchal expectation of like women have to be like more asexual in kind of a weird way. I like breaking through that in a lot of ways, and that like kind of led me into cuckolding, and the kind of all the hate that I get from it kind of like makes me just be like, oh well, fuck you, I like it more. So if we can get a chance to talk about it and dispel some myths and have some fun at the same time, sounds good to me. So thank you for having the panel.
Yeah, thank you. Feline?
Hey, yeah. I have been with my wife for almost 10 years now. We started a non-monogamous relationship. It was the first one I had ever been in. And we started with like a set of rules, but as the years kind of have worn on, we kind of ended up in kind of a open relationship, if you want to call it that. And we enjoy full swinging and also seeing other people apart from each other, as well as practicing sometimes like intermittent polyamory. And we're just kind of a couple of weirdos now, and I enjoy the hell out of it. So I'm here to advocate for non-monogamous people and also inform kind of the semi-monogamous dynamic and how it can be done in a healthy manner, just like anybody else does.
Awesome. JPEG Black.
All right. Hey guys. I'm JPEG. I've been a bull twice because I'm a coomer. I don't really have a strong like stance on like the topic of cucking. I guess I'm just really more interested to see what everybody else's take is. So yeah.
Awesome. And last but not least, Odd Primate.
Hello, I am Odd Primate, and I would consider myself to be a cuck or a cucklord. I don't really use the word cuck to describe myself too much. I would rather just say I'm in like open relationships a lot, and it's just like a lot easier to explain. But I've been in about 15 different cuckold relationships, and that's why I'm here.
Wow, awesome. And I'm Stardust. I like to throw panels together full of interesting people. I'm thinking the next one will be like maybe furries. We'll see. I'll figure it out. Yeah. So I guess we can start like with let's see here.
Can I actually start with one thing, if it's okay?
Sure. Go right
I wanted to
ahead.
start with- This is like the Cuck Bible. Okay, it's called Insatiable Wives by Dr. David Lay. It's psychiatrist who wrote a whole book on it and everything, and it's really interesting. If you're into the topic, I suggest reading it. He did a whole like Cuck Week thing on Twitter like last week. It was really cool. So
What's it called again?
Just wanted to give. It's called Insatiable Wives.
Insatiable Wives. Okay. And who is it by? I'm sorry.
Dr. David Lay, Ley.
Dr. David Lay. Okay.
I know it's backwards, so you can't really see. But...
Stardust is like, I have to read this book later.
No. I'm just putting it in the chat, So, yeah.
Right about this.
I just ordered
it.
Okay. So, how are you related to the subject? I guess we already went over that. But and how do you feel about it? I guess you guys already went over that as well. Okay. So I guess we can just jump into the meat of it. I'm sure you guys have noticed that there's been like an uprise in using like cuck as an insult. And particularly I started noticing it when like more conservative friends were starting to calling each other, they started calling each other cucks as an insult. And I didn't even know what the word meant back then. So I was wondering how you guys feel about a bunch of more traditional people starting to use the label cuck as an insult.
I think it's just like the gay label, to be honest. Like just when people used to use gay as like synonymous with bad for pejorative, and right now there isn't. The class of people that tend to be cucks technically are relatively upper class like white dudes, so it's not people that are dealing with as much struggle as like the gay community and stuff. So I think it's like a safe thing to insult right now, but I do think it is a little bit silly. I think sometimes like it can be funny. That's kind of the way I feel about all insults. Like if it's really funny and it's like not punching down, I think that's all right. Like for example, I call a lot of racist people race cucks because they are so devoted and loyal to this race that just is not loyal to them and is out to free to do whatever they want. So like I think you can like use it in a way that is kind of funny and insulting, but I think a lot of guys just do it because they're so insecure with their masculinity, they just want to attack somebody over their masculinity, and they don't really know what else, and it's like this is going to be the one thing that hits you. And those guys will also like talk about like making fun of you for like your dick size or how many girls you fuck or whatever, and it's it's just like toxic masculinity, but it's hilarious.
Yeah, wow.
Like hilarious, and like we should make fun of them, not like that. Oh, I appreciate this.
I think it is hilarious. I mean, I think it's like Bill Withers said, in the song "Use Me." If you look at what me and my wife do is abusive in one way or another towards me, then man, you can just keep on abusing me because I'm having a great time.
Okay, I have a question. Because I'm very new to this. I've never actually explored being a cuck queen, but it's absolutely something I'm gonna do. Isn't the whole point of it part of the point is humiliation, and like what form you decide to like engage with that is up to you. Like you draw like those boundaries when you go through it, whether you want people to acknowledge you in the room or whether you want them to like verbally humiliate you or anything like that. But if they use the word as an insult in some sort of like humiliation form, isn't that just par for the course?
It depends on the dynamic the two have. Sometimes you don't even have to be in the room. Sometimes I've had a girlfriend that's just been away and done cuckolding and so forth and had sex with partners. Sometimes you can be present. It's just up to the arrangement.
So we're not just referring to like the sex act then.
Yeah, but you mentioned and you kind of hinted at having cuckold play, like actual submissive, like an actual domination interaction there with your partner that you want to try out, right?
I guess what she's
I don't know if
asking
it's not domination. You watch somebody fuck your partner.
If you guys don't mind, if I can cut in really quickly, I don't mean to interrupt the flow of things. Really quickly, Culliver, thank you so much for the gifted subs. Really much appreciated. Sorry, go right ahead.
I would say that, it's not implicit domination, but when you mention like humiliation, for example, that does tie into a mental form of it, right?
it's like part of the definition of it.
So the way that
It-
like I define cuckolding is just like one-way non-monogamy. In
Hmm.
terms of being like dom and submissive, like I can switch and I could be with a woman that switch. It doesn't matter to me at all. The reason that I personally got into cuckolding wasn't because I wanted to be dominated by some woman. It's because I just love female sexuality and I love like focusing on one girl, seeing her get off, learning about like her vagina and like during the month, like what time she's ready for it, what time she likes certain things, you know, the different specifics that she likes. I really like focusing on her and then seeing her explore herself, especially like in a patriarchal world that tells her like, oh, you can't have sex, that's wrong of you. Like her having the kind of her having like the fortitude to just stand up and being like, no, I want to be a sexual being and I want to get what I want. I love that. So there doesn't have to be any humiliation in it for me, but if she likes that for whatever reason, then I can get into it. So for me it's like it's very much more about compersion and like that getting pleasure from the other person rather than it is humiliation. At
Okay,
least for
hold
me.
on. You cannot be voyeuristic in your cuckoldry. Being into voyeurism is all non-consensual and illegal. Cuckoldry is consensual.
That
You're
was a chat, I'm
using a
guessing, right?
bunch of very like dictionary-esque
I'm
terms.
responding to somebody in the chat. I didn't mean to you guys.
Okay.
Oh,
That's
I
all.
see. Because
That's
because voyeurism is also is an aspect of cuckoldry. It's
Mm,
for instance, for many well, you could call it exhibitionism instead if you want to be technical
yes, you
about
would
it.
have to. Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, if we were in a courtroom and you wouldn't obviously want to say I was voyeuristically watching my wife be plowed, Your Honor, and because then you'd be admitting to a crime, criminally, but colloquially, the reason for some cucks, for cuck queens especially, if you ask my wife would tell you that it's pleasurable for her to watch me have sex with another woman because she can get herself where that other woman is, as well as having another angle on watching me perform. It heightens her sexually that way. You know what I mean? Like for her, it has nothing to do with humiliation. It doesn't have anything to do with power play. For her, it is just exhibitionism, but also the kind of empathetically correct connecting with another woman that's having sex. You know?
Well, and I think in terms of like I think separating the voyeurism from like the exhibition is important too, because there are people who like the dynamics of like
Yeah.
consent, or like
Yeah.
corruption and stuff like that. I know there's
For
something like
sure.
MTR when like the girl, like the kink is like that the girl is cheating on you specifically. Like that's how
Yeah.
you want to feel. And that's something that I don't get into.
Right.
So yeah, I definitely don't want to like hide in the shadows and like not know that I'm there. Like that, granted, like you can do that like consensually, like if you guys talk about it before,
Yeah. Like,
set the
hide in the
expectation.
closet.
But yeah, I don't like any of that aspect of it. I like the aspect of like either being there or after the fact, like having that shared with me, and like letting me know how it is. And for me, like one of the things that really like that drives me through it is like after like she's done with her bowl or what I hate the terms that we have in the cuck community, but after she's done
Yeah.
with the guy that she's with, like that craving that she has for me after that intimacy and like the way that we fuck after that, like that is like the next level love that like makes me just want this more than
Yeah.
anything.
One thing that I've noted, like the way that like Flosny described it, is like incredibly romantic in a way. Like he's like he talking about how he wants like the way that he describes his partner being in a world that is, and it's very relatable, being in a world that tells women that they can't be sexual, right? And that if you, the moment you are sexual, you're a whore, you know? And you're all these bad things. And for him to just like not see it that way and see it as like this very like beautiful thing, it's very interesting. It's like, it's not for me, but like the way that you describe it is very like, it's very romantic and very, it's not even about like humiliation or about like owning her or anything like that. So
Yeah, and that's and one thing on that too, the like that romantic side of it, like the way that like you probably feel like, oh, I get that, but like it's not for me. that's how I see with like strict monogamy. Like I look at
Yeah.
it and I'm like, oh, I see that. Like I see the girl
Yeah.
being like, I just want you, that's it. And I'm like, nice, but just not for me. So it's like it's just there's different things are for different people. And I definitely accept that my outlook on things is like a minority opinion. Not everybody is going to psychologically be okay with this type of thing and feel the same way.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine. Some people are in the minority on some things psychologically. And I
Yeah.
think that one like big problem that people have, especially like incels or other people that like struggle excuse me, with like finding their masculinity and stuff, is they're looking a lot like for outside validation for people to tell them what it is, rather than like looking inside of themselves and being like, okay, what satisfies me? What type of girl do I actually want to be with? Instead of just being desperate and taking the next girl that comes and wondering why it doesn't work out when you were just trying to not be lonely. So I think like being really strict with yourself and like when you're going out dating and stuff, making sure that it's the type of person that you want. If you want monogamy, don't be with somebody that's looking for an open relationship. If you want an open relationship, don't be with somebody that's like, I could never do this. This is strict monogamy. I think having that communication and filtering people out by that is actually like really helpful. And I think a lot of people are afraid to do it because they're desperate and lonely a lot of times in this atomized world.
To bounce off that briefly, it does run into a confidence issue. The people who use the insulting terms for like you're just a cuck, you do find that amongst them, typically being sexist amongst other things, it is a confidence issue that they have. Us in here, we have our cams on. We're talking about how we can share our partners.
Some of us have our cams on.
Some.
Don't throw shade. My tan will go away.
No, but even speaking on without having a camera on, right? You're still speaking about sexuality. People who use that cuck insult and that try to drive home with that as an actual insult, they just typically aren't confident, right? At least that's the pattern I've encountered with people who try to insult me.
It's always insults and othering people usually has a motif of hatred and fear, and the reason why they're afraid is because most monogamous motives are based off of the same brain chemistry that relate to addiction. Possessive love in general is actually fundamentally the same thing as addiction. And
there's absolutely possessive love with non-monogamy.
Yes, there is. And as a matter of fact, I think that non-monogamy is the playing with that addiction. It is the conscious kind of stressing of that addiction.
When it's done right, absolutely. Yeah. Like part of the reason why I'm even interested in Cuck Queen is I really want to just like explore my jealousy, but like without actually being jealous.
Can I tell you something?
What are you going to tell me?
That's exactly why I do it too.
Okay, cool.
There's
taught me a lot about myself, that's very noble. That's a very noble and psychonautical goal that you have, and I appreciate it.
Thanks.
In the cuck community, there's this term called Cuck Angst, and that's like the feeling that you're playing with there. Like when you're partners with somebody else, when you do want to be with them, but you also want them to be happy. You're also worried that they're feeling something for someone else, and you also want to be close to them. There's so many emotions that play there, and it's like a roller coaster. Even if you're like just sitting there, like having a drink. So like playing with that angst a lot is definitely a big part about it. And not everybody can handle that, which is why it's not for everybody. But if you can handle it, then that comeback after is really powerful. I heard this on a podcast. You want to see her get lost with him so then she can find her way back to you. And like that hits at my heart so much with like the way the dynamic works and everything. So so I love that aspect about it. I don't really get too necessarily jealous. But like it's but the feelings are still like kind of there. It's like a weird dynamic. Like I don't really feel the jealousy. I just kind of like I want like to celebrate her so much.
Now, outside of like the act or whatever, have you ever felt jealousy?
Yes, in previous relationships. Like if I like one thing I like about the cuckold relationship is it's not polyamory. She doesn't have a whole bunch of boyfriends that like are her other boyfriends. I'm not in a brother-husband dynamic. So I love going to the grocery store with her. I love, cooking with her. I love, getting stuff ready at home, doing all that kind of stuff. So if she was sharing that other stuff with somebody else, that would kind of upset me. but like the sexual stuff, the party stuff, that doesn't bother me at all. But if she was sharing like that other, like the nest stuff, you know what I mean, like two birds in a nest, like if she was sharing our nest with someone else, then that would make me uncomfortable.
I don't find that I experience jealousy too often in my normal relationships. Even before my right now, I'm currently married, hopefully forever. But before that, I generally don't feel jealousy because I've always been willing to one up anything to make sure that like I'm number one in someone's life.
Damn.
So in this, I want to feel what I know other people have felt in like relationships with me, and that's what's like really fun and um
Yeah,
exciting to me.
when your
Is it
partner craves you after they've just fucked somebody else, like you will get a rush, like, oh shit, I'm like the queen of this world. Like she ain't got nothing on me. Like no matter how like good that was or how much fun they had, like he wants me more than anything. That rush. Ooh, ooh, ooh,
Can I
that's what I
ask
live for.
you some stuff about your relationship with your husband?
No,
Okay. All right.
Fair,
Cool.
fair, awesome.
Fair.
I like
Okay.
Sherry.
So, oh, wow, you guys are great on this. I guess we've got a bull in the room. If you wanted to give your perspective on this subject.
I mean, I guess, I guess, like I'm not an expert, and I'm probably a lot younger than everybody else in this call.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess I'd just view like cuckolding as any other, sexual fetish. I don't really see why it should be stigmatized more than any other one. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't like I said earlier, like I don't really have a strong stance. So
Yeah. Yeah. How did you get, if you don't mind me asking, how did you get into bull, like being a bull, as they say?
yeah, so um, when I say this, I don't want to sound like I'm jerking myself off, but um, I
Nothing wrong
guess
with it.
I've always thought that like I've been pretty unattractive until like maybe 1 or 2 years ago. Um, so like that was when I started college, and then I started getting a lot of compliments. Um, I started using dating apps like Tinder, obviously. Um, and then most of the time it was older women that would message me, so like somewhere between like the age of 30 and 40. Um, and a lot of them would message me and they would ask like, I'm in an open relationship, are you interested? Um, and obviously, because I'm black, there's most of them are white women, so there's a clear like, in my opinion, there's clear like fetishization there. Um, Most of them I turned down because some of the situations, like some of the scenarios that they would ask me to do, I just wasn't comfortable with. But then like other ones, they were pretty run of the mill. Like the people seemed pretty normal. Um, so like I said, I've done it twice. It's I think for me, it's kind of the opposite of like humiliation. So like for me, it's like instead of being from the cuckold's position where you get off from like the humiliation aspect, for me it was more like the dominating aspect. I don't know if that's like toxic, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's my
What were
experience
the,
pretty much.
if I may ask, what were some of the things you turned down, or some of the requests that put you off?
Okay, so there was this really weird one where this guy he messaged me and he said that Um, it was a white couple. So he messaged me and he said, "Dude, do you have a roofie?" I don't know if this is like TOS. I don't want to get like too spicy.
Yeah.
Huh.
Bye.
Um, but
Bye.
he basically said the only way he could get his wife to fuck a black guy is if he roofied her. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing
Oh,
that." That's
Uh,
that is
that's
something.
not
Yeah,
cool.
that's really
That's not
yeah.
weird.
cool.
That I'm glad you turned that one down.
But
I,
yeah, no, like
yeah.
that's great. Like thankfully that's the only time that's happened to me. I've never had like any other creep ask me to do like weird stuff like that, but that one sticks in my mind. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you feel weird about them seeking you out based on your race, or is it just
um Sometimes, like it's not always a race thing. Obviously, a lot of the time it is. And like for those times, it is kind of like it does come off a bit weird. Like I don't know how else to describe it. Yeah, no, those situations definitely make me uncomfortable. Um,
Okay. Does race play a large part in the cucks that are on this panel? Does race play a large part in your relationship, or not really?
In my dynamic, it's not relevant. My partner doesn't care, and like I have mixed kids already, so like there isn't really a like we
Yeah.
already like have our kids and stuff, but there's already
Yeah.
we already mix, so there's not really
Yeah.
anything there. But there is a lot of people that are into that in the lifestyle. Like when you go to swinging parties, there's a lot of it. Surprisingly enough, that's actually a lot of like the more right wing, like very either libertarian or like very conservative guys are the ones that are more into race sometimes. But it's I think that there's like a toxic way that you can do it where like you're racist and like you're using this as like this is a taboo and like you're trying to get off on it and it's very like dehumanizing. But then like if you're fetishizing certain elements about people and you're doing it like in a more like an admirative way, like the whole scenario he just gave where like she was she had to be roofied like to get with him, that like makes it seem like he's not like normally like her girl, like it's so creepy and weird and disgusting. Whereas like if a girl's like, hey, like I just am really attracted to, X, Y, or Z type guy, and then she wants to be with that guy, then it's like, okay, well, you just have a preference and that's what you want. So I feel like that's a little bit different. I don't think there's an issue with people having preferences for the gender or the race or whatever they want, as long as like the underlying issues aren't bad. And the best way that I heard it described was actually on this one podcast called Keys and Akelint's podcast. It's actually a guy that's a bull and he does a podcast with like female-led relationships, cuckolding, and stuff like that. And he had a whole panel of bulls on it. And the one thing that they said race play is not inherently racist, just like BDSM play isn't inherently violent. So like obviously you could do abusive things with it, you can be unhealthy with it, but like you can be responsible and stuff and talk about your expectations and what you want. So I think that there's like a responsible way to engage with it. But it just doesn't really matter for me. My girl like can hook up with a girl too, so like it's like whatever she wants, like to get her off. So it's
Yeah.
for me, yeah. For me, it doesn't matter gender or race. But if you do have a preference for that, I think hey, like you don't want to be you don't want to be forcing people to hook up with people they don't want to.
Okay, I think there is though, like the race element does play a part into cuckoldry, and there are couples who will have like the preference where for humiliation to choose someone, and they tend to go for a black person with a bigger dick than them to have their wife fucked properly in a sense, and that's like the goal of it. And so they are being racist when they select a black person because they want someone with a larger penis because it's a positive stereotype, but not every black person has like a mandingo dick.
well,
So
yeah, yeah,
Well,
like
I think
sometimes
they also. I think it's
that's
also
Here's
that they want more levels of difference. So you can be like the bull and the cuck are different in this way, in this way, in this way, in this way. And when I've talked to a lot of couples, it's like adding to that levels of difference. But there's definitely like a lot of like super racist aspects to it. But I think if a girl's like
there can be, but
yeah.
some people can clearly
Yeah.
make those distinctions and not
Yeah.
do it in that regard.
And in porn, it's everywhere like that. It's so annoying. Like you can't like find a porn that like has like even like some interracial porn just like becomes cuck porn, and it's like can you just like let the
Yeah.
porn go? So yeah, I don't even like watch porn to be honest like anymore because it just
Oh
doesn't
my
like speak to my
goodness.
dynamics.
True. And I think more people should stay away from porn that's specifically like kinked in that regard, because it does have like racist undertones. And I think for people who explore this in real life and take from porn, um, maybe even unconsciously are being a bit racist in their selections.
The racism in the mind. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I've had partners where we both sought out black guys, not because of underlying racism, but it is a hot power play.
I just say this as someone who's dated many black men and have
Mm.
encountered the few that don't have a mandingo, and it's they don't
Yeah.
like that stereotype.
Yeah, no. Well,
I-
Yeah, because it's
understanding
like
that.
even if a stereotype is like quote unquote positive, it's not really positive because people who don't fit it will ultimately feel like put down
Lesser.
because they can't live up to those
Exactly.
standards.
Yeah. I
For
do
sure.
think that there's something though, like because even interracial relationships are still somewhat stigmatized in some places. Um, I think that there's probably an element of that also playing into the whole cuckoldry kind of thing as well.
Yeah, I think breaking down that taboo is also that like is something attractive. Like if like I personally would be very unattractive if a girl said like she wouldn't like be like with a certain race. Like if she was like, "Oh, I wouldn't like okay, I'll do this, but I won't hook up with any black guys." And I'd be like, "Wait a minute. Like what?" Like that's like cuz that would like be kind of like racist to me. But like if she like
Yeah.
has a preference like all, you know, like, "Oh, I think this guy's really hot for whatever." I think that it's one thing like to have a preference, like, "Hey, typically I like this when we go out, like this is the kind of guy like that we're roughly looking for." Versus like this is a hard rule, like only hook up with this person and stuff. And I feel like when you get like in that hard box, it's really different. I have a friend who is like a cuckoldress with her husband and everything, and she typically like prefers black men. But like we were talking the other day, and she was like showing me like pictures of this guy in a soccer team that's like this white guy that like she's really attracted to and stuff. And like we talked about that a little bit. I was like, oh, normally like you like black guys and stuff, and she was like, oh yeah, she's like, I don't really care that much or whatever. And that was kind of like warm-hearted to me. It's like okay, like you're not being one of these crazy people that like only has this preference and is like super strict and everything.
I think you can pick up on people's neuroses if they have general fears around things. If it's not based around a fear, then it's usually not based off of some dissonant preconceived notion with reality. But when I do hear, like, oh no, I would never date a black guy though. And then you go, okay, well, why? And they start to kind of, you can kind of tell, like, the whole reason is based off of some deep nonsensical fear that is completely outside of reality, then usually that is racism. Usually that's a very easy way to out somebody as, oh, I can't be around you. Like, but, I think for a lot of people exploring non monogamy, it is a chance to have experiences that they never thought they were going to be able to have, especially like you said, you get married, you hopefully are married forever, you know.
Well, hold on. I think everything that you can experience in non-monogamy, you can experience it as a single person. And
Mhm.
I would caution jumping into a non-monogamous relationship. Um, I don't think it's for everybody. And
We definitely
For
don't
sure.
always jump. Sometimes we fall. It just happens.
yeah,
Sometimes you wind up with people. Like I said, with my wife in particular, I don't know if this is like this with everybody at all, but when we, on our first conversation, we're kind of talking about like how we didn't want to be monogamous ever again. And kind of, the next person we were going to date, like we were going to practice some form of non-monogamy and we knew it. And then like here we are 10 years later and we kind of are like, I don't even know what to call us anymore. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. We're just kind of people.
Yeah, I think finding that like compatibility in partners is really hard. Just like I said before, there's a lot of people that are desperate and they look for anybody because they're lonely. There's also a lot of people that have like a super strict checklist and they're like, no, you have to be
Yeah.
all these things, and then they can't find somebody that hits all those things, and they're wondering, why like relationships aren't working. So I think you have to be dynamic with it and kind of let yourself fall if it's going to happen. I met my current girlfriend at Dunkin' Donuts. She was taking a while like to go through her purse to get money out, and I said, hey, I'll buy your drink if you sit down and share it with me. And she said okay, and then like we just started talking from there, and we've been together ever since. So like
nice.
yeah, it worked out well. Having said that, I've done similar things like that in the past and gotten rejected like a bunch of
Yeah.
times. Girls are just like,
Oh
not
yeah.
interested, no, no, no. And I think that especially guys, like you have to be okay with rejection. Like it's fine. Like if somebody's
Hmm.
rejecting you for whatever reason, like that reason was going to come out anyway. So like just wear like you don't have to overload everybody you meet with everything right away, but be like honest about yourself. Like if I was going to get into another relationship, if we broke up, I would want like a cuckold relationship again because I love this dynamic. I wouldn't want a relationship with a girl that strictly wanted monogamy. So if I talked with somebody and I could tell that that's something that they wanted, I would have to be like, nope, sorry, this isn't going to work. Because yeah, I think it would be like dishonest not to.
The thing that dating outside my wife has taught me about women is the best way to get the things that you want is to just ask women to give you what you want in the most emphatic and obvious way possible. And usually if you're very, very confident about it, they'll give it to you.
If you have that dynamic, yeah, with them.
Just ask women for what you want. I tell young men that all the time. Like, just ask for what you want.
Yeah, and one of the other things on the race play aspect of it too, just because that was like the topic that kind of got started up here. I think the issue is like that we still live in like a racist society. So doing that in and of itself is a taboo. Like if you are going to hook up with somebody of another race, so I think like breaking down that is kind of hot, just the same way the girl like breaking down the slut barrier is hot too. Breaking down that interracial barrier has an element of hot to it. But like hopefully we can get to a place as a society where like we're post racial and stuff, and then people don't even care about that. Because if you notice, nobody's really like doing the race thing with like Italians and Anglos and like different people like that because they're all considered white now. So I think that like, as we get to like a post-racial like society, like that'll fade away. So all the people who are super racist are actually like making the taboo something that's attractive.
Yeah.
I think it's just because Anglos and the Italians don't have big dicks, right?
Hey, I'm an Italian.
We're all the
Whoa.
same.
Whoa.
Hey,
This guy.
I got Italian sausages, let me tell you.
Oh, I mean, I've got Italian in me as well, right? But that black stereotype does exist because typically they are better performers in bed, right? They do have the bigger schlongs, and women just do want to be used in that sense, right? Where typically the partner can't put out what they want. So one course is cheating. One course is bringing up with their partner, hey, your dick isn't too good. I want to have other partners. Let's see how this arrangement goes, right?
Yeah, but you can just use like a dildo for that if you just want the dick, though. I think like one important thing about like the cuckolding dynamic is there is the relationship between, the woman's other partners and her, or in the cuck queen relationship, the opposite genders. And to me, like that relationship is hot, like the flirting that they have together. I even have like friends that are very vanilla friends, and when I like told them about like my cuckolding and stuff, they like thought it was weird at first, and then I talked more to them about it, and they're like, oh, sometimes I go out with my partner to, the bar, and I'll like just let them dance around and stuff, and that turns me on seeing them dance with other people. So this is just kind of like the extreme of that. There was one study that not this guy, but a different psychologist, Dr. Justin Laymiller came out with, and it was like 60% of men almost have like some type of cuckolding fantasy. It's just like a really hot thing that turns you on biologically. Like we have a dick that has like a scoop on the end of it to scoop out another man's cum. Like we are, as primates, we're the only primate that has like the mammary
The
glands.
fuck kind of dick you have?
That's the way that
Don't?
He's
like,
got
the
a
penis-
plunger.
Don't
He's
run
got
past
like
that.
That's the way every dickhead is shaped. Yeah, that's the way it is. The ridge around the dickhead, like actually, like they. I'm not a sex scientist,
Okay.
but
So,
yeah,
like,
it'll like
No, but
another
Yeah.
man's come out.
I heard that got debunked. by the
this-
way.
Maybe it did
huge.
get debunked. Maybe that's evolutionary psych and
Well,
biology is always
yeah.
like hit or miss here.
Yeah.
But like there are if you look like in any of our primate past, like there's every single type of mating group from harems to full on orgies to like territorial stuff. And I think that one of the things that like is kind of undisputable though is like that women have breasts in our society or in our species, and like having breasts like typically in the animal kingdom shows that you're pregnant, or that you're nursing someone and like you're not available for somebody else. But for some reason we evolved that secondary sex characteristic. So I don't know 100% all the biology by it, but it seems
You
like
just-
there's
you
some
just threw
aspects
out-
that like you could be attracted to here.
You just threw out that the woman could just use a dildo, right? If her man's not putting out, right?
Well, only
I
only
think
if it's
that's
just
the-
about the dick. That's all that.
yeah, we
was saying.
could bring up
No, the
hollow
whole
strap-ons
aspect, because-
as well. So.
Yeah,
Since that's,
pegging aside is based,
Yeah.
but the if just talking about the dick, I mean, a black guy has it all going, right? Like, what's his in here? As he alluded to, a lot of women in their 30s and 40s approached him. Why is that? He's clearly going to have better stamina, most likely, assuming here a bigger schlong, and they desire someone who can meet those needs, right? Guys
Wait.
in their 30s and 40s, not so.
No, there is actually a reason for why people go for younger, and that's usually because those who are younger are not looking for um, like attachment or um, something permanent or anything like stable, and are generally more inclined to explore.
Yeah.
I don't know if it has to do with stamina.
I think
There is
that people
definitely
have.
a
I'd
young
say it's a
stamina.
combination
Yeah.
Yeah,
at that, right?
I think it's always just like swinging and non-monogamy and cuckoldry. It's like Cherry had one kind of motive going into it. I have a different motive, and Cucky has a very traditional cuck motive that I've heard from other people. Um,
I did want to
Cucky,
ask
what?
Odd Primate because he hasn't spoken
Yeah,
much. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, everyone's been talking, so
It's okay.
we love you.
We
I
appreciate
love you
you.
too.
Just note the question, Dan, that you were going to ask me, and we can let
Yeah.
coordinate.
Yeah.
What was the question? Sorry.
Well, someone's going to ask me a question, but then
Yeah. Go
Stardust
ahead,
wanted to give you the
Aphelion.
floor.
Sorry,
Oh,
Aphelion,
yeah,
if you
I
wanted
was-
to ask a question.
I was going to ask you, like, amongst non-monogamous activities, Cucky, would you say that, like, cuckoldry is the one that you are most interested in?
No, it's the whole aspect of BDSM, right? As a submissive, that's just all sorts of fun, right? So, but
And
I would say
do
being
you
a
find
cuck is one
submission is like your favorite aspect of kink, or is?
Oh yeah, I don't think I could do a vanilla relationship. Yeah,
Hmm.
wholesale.
I feel like Cucky is the most kinky one here.
I know. I'm starting to feel vanilla.
I know, me too.
I do think though, going to what Cookie was saying there, I think that like when there is the dynamic and the girl has her bowl there, she's gonna be attracted to everything about him. So like if the guy's like a white guy, maybe it's like, oh, like his big like Viking dick, I want that. Or if it's this black guy, oh, this big black dick, whatever. Like I think that you can be attracted to either one of those, and like I think you can do it in like a healthy or a non-healthy way. Like I said, like race play isn't always racist, just like BDSM isn't always violent, but don't go around just like slapping people in the face. So, don't go around just like assuming, every black guy is a huge dick guy who wants to fuck your wife. Like, so I think that there's a healthy way that you can engage with it that doesn't have to be like as dehumanizing. And I think that's the main issue, like with fetishization, is the dehumanization. Like, so you have to be like, whatever you can, like, people have sexual objects. We all do. But like, we are not sexual objects. We are people that have those sexual objects. And that's important to not miss.
But it's worth noting though that whenever you see either in person or in your porns, home ed or otherwise, where you do see it's the black stud, she pulls down those pants, and he's got a small member, right? The sheer disappointment on her face can't be overstated, right?
That is a caricature of the act, though. I mean, sure, you're saying that porn is the illustration of why people find it hot.
Even homemade,
Yes,
where
even
it's
homemade.
proper.
Yeah.
But it's
so
humiliation is not the only aspect
Yeah.
to.
Oh, that's not humiliation. That's just she pulls down her bull's pants, and he's small. The
Well, I
sheer
think if you're a
dread and
girl,
disappointment is like going forward. I'm gonna have to fuck that small dick.
I mean, typically I've only like organized things beforehand. Like we know like everything beforehand. So like if the girl like has a preference for like a bigger dick, you're kind of gonna find that out beforehand. In my experience, I haven't like had like a surprise like, here's the dick and we didn't know what we were working with here. That hasn't ever happened with
Do
me.
you get photos up front?
Well, like you kind like, so typically what I do is I'll go out to like a swinger party and like people talk with each other, and number one, you kind of know who has the big dick there, like, to be honest. And number two, like, you're not going to lie about it because there's other girls at the party, there's other people that know and stuff. Like, we're all kind of a tight knit community, and like girls will recommend guys to each other and stuff. So like it's not really ever like it's never a question for us. It's always kind of like, okay, like he has this or has that. My current partner isn't a size queen, but I do love size queens. I think it's like really sexy when a girl likes a big dick. But I don't care if she likes big black dick or big white dick or big Asian dick or
Does
big
that mean
Thai
you
dick or
probably
whatever.
put a? Does that mean you probably put a what do you call it?
Probably yes.
The thing
Whatever
you
the
did
question.
to make it bigger.
So-
Oh sure,
the
yeah,
sleeve?
yeah.
I do
Yeah,
want to
no.
I do want to clarify though, like because a lot of the stereotype around like the cucking is that it's about humiliation when what it looks like from this panel, at least, it doesn't seem like that's the case. It seems like actually there are a good number of people who are into cucking who are not into humiliation necessarily. Yeah.
Yeah, humiliation is its own thing, like under BDSM, and then cuckolding is just like the monogamy, polyamorous, swinging, or one-way open relationship, which is cucking. So like
It's
those
like-
are like there's a Venn
I don't think
diagram
I
there.
agree with this.
Okay.
I don't
I
think
would
I agree with
disagree.
this. I feel like if we go to or if we grow to a society where like monogamy is not the norm, I think absolutely then humiliation is not part of it. But I think just the concept alone of letting somebody fuck your significant other is humiliation.
I would
Now
disagree with that.
if we're talking about like compounding on top of that, where there's like verbal antagonizing you, making like direct eye contact with you in sort of a hasty way, then we're going towards like the kink of humiliation. But I think underlying in cuckoldry is absolutely humiliation.
I don't
I would disagree with
necessarily
that. I don't
agree
feel
with that. Yeah,
I
because
don't.
it's like it's how you view your partner, right? If you view your partner as like your possession, then maybe that would be something. You feel humiliated that somebody is taking your possession and fucking them. But like if you don't view your partner that way, if you don't view your partner as a possession for only you to have, and you actually view it as like watching them, like the way that Flosny was describing it with his partner. I think that you could definitely see that it's not humiliating for some people. I think it's all about the way that you view it.
I find her more attractive, like that she does that. Like I find her more beautiful, and the fact that she still craves me after having somebody else like makes me feel the opposite of humiliated. Like it makes me feel like wanted and needed and everything like that.
And
like
the
it's
man,
like
right?
I love
No,
it. Yeah.
I'm actually going to challenge this and I'm going to push you more because I think if you consider that domination as part of this, I don't understand how you remove humiliation from it.
I didn't say it is part of it necessarily.
No,
Like we don't. My
domination.
partner.
Yeah.
No,
If
I
anything,
remember you saying that.
that may have been something.
That's what
I don't know.
Cucky gets out of it. That's
Yeah,
what
I'm
Cucky said that
okay.
he gets out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm okay with either being submissive or dominant or switching it up. Like I can do that with any partner. For me, it's all about the compersion aspect. It's about making her happy. So if she wanted to dominate me, fuck yeah, like put a leash on me, let's go. If she wants to be dominated, okay, like I'll hold you down and do what I have to do. But like it's
Yeah, but
all
do
about
you
what she wants.
exactly? So and that's fine. I'm not telling you that you have to feel like I'm not saying
Mhm.
be humiliated, whatever. I'm saying the underline here, okay? Because of the world that we live in right now. If you explain that to anybody, their initial thought is, "Oh, you want her to be pleased. You can't do that yourself. You need somebody else." Like the underline of cuckoldry is humiliation.
I wouldn't say that society's expectation is the
I
underlying
think that's
of
the perception.
cuckoldry. I would say that my like relationship and the underlying reasons why I do it are the underlying reason. I don't know, like you're saying that society has this expectation, so the fact that like you're not fulfilling that expectation is automatically a humiliation thing. And I just don't like
Yeah.
I don't feel that I need that validation from society to have my
No,
masculinity
you
or
don't.
anything.
Exactly. You don't need it, but it's there. And that the whole point of
I would yeah, I would
owning the
disagree.
fact that you do this is because you enjoy playing with that. Like we understand that
yeah.
there's an aspect of jealousy within this kink
Yeah.
and you're playing with that and like living in it. And
If
it's
I don't mean
Go ahead,
to,
Sarah.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I think from what I heard earlier, Flosny was specifically talking about the rejection of society's norms, right? And if you reject the norms of society and you are only interested in like your dynamic with your partner, I don't really see jealousy needing to be part of it. Though I definitely could see like it. I don't know, being an attractive part of it, but I definitely I've heard other cucks say that like when their partner still chooses them at the end of the night after being with somebody else, like that it's like you feel like very masculine and all of that or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
like the humiliation aspect like makes me think and maybe we're just using words differently here. But like when I think of humiliation, I think of like especially as a man, like taking away your masculinity, taking away your relationship, taking away like what you have like in your relationship. And like I feel the exact opposite of that. I feel more masculine because like I'm a cuckold. I feel more masculine when I'm seeing her fuck somebody else and I'm like, "Yep, that's my girl right
Okay,
there." Like I feel
hold on.
yeah, the opposite.
Please.
Because because like what Stardust mentioned is at the end of it all, like, and I think that that's what you said, Stardust. At the end of all, you got it back because you're the one that they fucked and stuff like that. That's what this is all exploring. So like in the moment when they are fucking the other person, right? You sit in that jealousy, you sit in that humiliation, and you just try to enjoy it. But after the fact is when you overcome it, and that's what's supposed to be euphoric.
Not
I don't.
Do you
I,
necessarily.
yeah,
understand?
yeah. I don't see
Not
it. I like for
necessarily.
me, it's a slow ride the whole time. It's not like I'm like down here, swing back up. Yeah.
you guys are talking past each other a little
Yeah.
bit
I think so,
because
but it's fine.
because I think what Cherry is referring to is the immense kind of emotional turmoil you're having in the moment, and as the humiliating event, there is a kind of a fear that you feel, and it's not really something you think about. It's not really like something you intellectualize, like, oh, right now I'm going to feel bad. Like it's not like that at all. There is definitely a sense of a fear that comes over you, because I don't know, probably because of biological primate brain and, millions of years of evolution. But
Hmm.
I think what you were referring to in that moment as humiliation, is, or emasculation, is really, it's more ego destruction. It's not emasculation. It's the destruction of your identity as a partner of another person, and that to your identity is very painful. That's what it feels like. As a person who's, tripped once or twice, it's very similar in the way that you can feel kind of a way that you define yourself as this person's husband, as this person's father. Be quiet. As this person's partner is being stripped away from you, and it might not come back. And it's not realistic. It's not like a realistic phobia, but in the moment, that's what you feel. And when they come back, the resolution of that can feel masculating, but I don't feel it. I don't think that it's societally so people around me would say I'm being emasculated, and that's the reason why I feel the way that I do. But it's more that my ego is being destroyed in front of my eyes, and I can't help but feel anything else.
I
Is
don't
that
have.
emasculation? I don't know.
I don't like have that similar feeling, I guess. Like for
I
me
know.
that like feeling that angst it's the same feeling I had like the first time I hooked up with like a girl, like the first time that like I went down on someone and I was like, "Oh wait, like we're about to do something like that I really want to do." And like it's building up like that. It's never for me like there isn't really that emasculation or anything of it. Like
Do you
I've had
have
some
possessive
partners.
love of your partner? Do you think that you're possessive at all of your partner?
No, I don't have that at all.
Do
Like the way
you
that I see it is like she's like a flame, and like the more I share it, like the more like her like radiance burns bright like throughout. So I don't have like that same feeling of like I don't feel like I'm losing out on anything. I feel like if I didn't do this, I'd be losing out on
do you
something.
feel lonely when she chooses to hang out with other people that aren't you?
Nope.
I do want to, I mean, I think, yeah, this is something that people choose to experience for different reasons, right? And I think that the reason also, part of the reason why I pulled this panel together is because I was so surprised at this, group of cucks who do it, not because they want to feel jealousy or because they want to feel humiliated, but because to them, there's nothing like more like nothing like says you're a king quite like you knowing your girl can go fuck somebody else and you not being bothered by it and knowing that she's going to come back to you at the end of it because right? Because there's no doubt about it. It's like
That's
that.
confidence.
Yeah, that's just fucking. That's like this other person is just the boy toy, and I am the man. So like that's like a dynamic I was very surprised by when I was talking to some people about it. So
Yeah, and
Yeah.
technically I've got called like stag vixen instead of cuckold. I guess like that's more specific, but yeah.
Stag
Yeah.
vixen.
I guess I'm just here for like a different reason.
Yeah.
I think the idea of cuck is interesting to me because I find it to be very hot to just explore jealousy. I don't like the idea of treating a third person in a sex act like like was it not exposable,
Objectified.
not like something to throw out. Like, oh, we're just
Expendable.
using, like, oh, I'm just using you right now for my ego, and I can, whatever, you're gone after this. Um, I find it really important for my slut adventures to not treat people like that.
Yeah.
So that's why I more so sit in like what it is for my emotions while I like respect the two people that are in the act that I'm watching.
Yeah,
So
and
wait,
I
you
think it's
said
important like not to like throw like the bulls like away too as if like they're nothing, they're not there. Like when I feel like I'm coming back, it's not because I'm coming back because those guys were disposable at all. And that's like definitely like a misconception like in like a lot of cuck things, and porn does that a lot of times too.
I
Like
do
it's much
that.
more for me like she had a great time with him, like there's this great guy like, and like I'm like, for me it's like we can both give her something that makes her happy, and like part of the element is hot that he doesn't want to stay around like for the nest stuff like I said before. So like that's why that aspect would like if he stayed around for like that specific stuff. But if he's like texting her, having like a relationship with her, and like they're still communicating and stuff after that, and like they're good friends, like I that's like ideal. That's yeah.
I think it's also pretty common that the third person is almost like worshipped or pampered between the two, right?
No,
I've never done that
not all.
personally.
Not
Yeah,
Oh
from the
always.
no.
way that Flosny describes it, it's like him and the third person actually are like worshiping the wife, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
much more how it is. It's very female focused in my dynamic always, and like all just about like both of us are doing like whatever we can like in that moment for her.
yeah, man. I
So
mean, like the typical the husband, the boyfriend, or whatever. I mean, typically what you would find is they would buy the date, the dinner date, or whatever it may be for the bull and the wife, right? So they can enjoy their night out, right? Um, uh, Typically, that's what you find is that level of worship towards the partner, right?
I think that everybody kind of throws each other away socially all the time, and pretending like you don't is a bit silly. I mean, we have friends that we've swung with that we are quote unquote friends with still. You know what I mean? But we're Facebook
Just use them.
friends now. But it's we so my wife and I have had polyamorous kind of intermittent relationships with some of the other people that we've had adventures with, and you can't really stop the feelings from sprouting. It's kind of a physical thing. Like I have fallen in love many times. My wife has fallen in love many times. Love the reason why I do it, the reason why I practice non-monogamy is because ego destruction is the most holy act for me as a non-religious person. It's the most spiritual thing that I can do, is destroying the parts of my ego that try to control my brain. Um, and the thing is that we tell people all the time. It's fine for us to like mess around and be friends and like go out to the bar, and we can even go on dates and stuff. But at the end of the day, what's going to happen eventually is there's going to be a time where you're going to text me and you're going to want to hang out, and I will be with my wife, and I'm going to choose to keep hanging out with my wife because 100% you have already lost the game. There will never be anything more than this between us. And it's hard, and you have to be that upfront about it. And it's hard to find women that are willing to take that deal. I understand because it's a shitty deal. I get it. I really do. But as empathetic as you want to be, we all as long as we have a purpose that we're seeking out this other purpose like person in our lives, they might teach us and enrich our lives and change them for the better, but we're ultimately using them and then progressing past them and integrating what they've taught us and then continuing on our journeys without them.
I think this is just overthinking it too much. If I'm in a relationship and I can't put out, I mean, depending on who it is, I can put out for them. If it's not the case with this particular person, then hey, you and another partner to fuck your brands up because I can't for whatever reason because this is how you want it to be, right? Boom, fuck 10 dudes, all the fuck you want. At the end of the day, you're coming home to me. Fantastic, move on, right? I'm using the BBC to fulfill that aspect that I can't do, right? I think it's just this whole ego breakdown is just overthinking it.
I don't think Cucky has one. I think Cucky was born without one. That's why he's superior to us.
Without what?
An ego.
Oh.
Can I add something?
So confused right now.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay, so I'll be honest, I actually have different views from everybody in this panel. I actually am a cuck for the humiliation aspect. To put it bluntly, I'm a masochist. I love being physically and verbally abused. So that's how I get my
Fair enough.
satisfaction from cucking.
Well, you sound like a fucking idiot. No, I'm just
kidding. Say more.
Well, but like that's like what you just did there, Sherry. If my girl was in like to humiliation, she wanted to do that with me, I'd be like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And I could get into that mind space like that. I could definitely get into it. So for me, like the reason that I found cuckolding is because it's all about compersion. And when Aphelion said the divinity thing in his secular life, that's kind of how I feel. Like embracing like female sexuality like is the closest to divinity that I can ever come. So yeah, I see it as like the most beautiful thing, like the thing that I want to be a part of. So that's like how I got into it. And then whatever serves that divinity best, whether it's me being masculine in the moment or me being submissive or whatever, like I'm there for it.
Awesome. Yeah, I think
primate,
it's great.
I mean, that's very base what you said.
Yeah, I think it's great that, we've got like such a variety of reasons in this panel for why different people are cucks. But that's kind of like what I was trying to illustrate anyways, right? Because everybody's going to have a different motivation and stuff, right? So, yeah.
I want to hear about the humiliation.
Yeah.
What do you want to hear?
I don't know what I want to hear. Can you decide for me?
Sure. So, I mean, there's a lot to it. I mean, I like getting talked down to a lot. I like getting tied up and beaten pretty much. There's so many things, to be quite honest. But it's just, I've been doing it since I was 16. Actually, every one of my relationships have been non-monogamous. My very first experience with sex actually was with my best friend's girlfriend, and I was actually playing the part of the bull my very first time, and he was sitting across the room, and I actually got introduced to it very, very early, and ever since then I've just enjoyed it. And I've after I think the second time I actually started like playing more of the cuck role, and I just realized like this is really what I really like, and yeah, I think most of it kind of stems from being verbally abused by like my family growing up, and just getting into it like in a relationship kind of like took off and maybe.
What are your thoughts on NTR then?
On what?
NTR.
I have no clue what that is, to be quite honest.
Ignoring?
Yeah. No, it's basically like cuckolding with like specifically like cheating elements. Like the person is specifically like being disloyal.
No.
And stuff like that. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong.
So the cheating aspect, I'm not too fond of. I would prefer like to actually know who they're getting with, because I don't really have rules when it comes to whoever my partner gets with. The only rules I do have is like I make sure that they are clean of STDs, and also I make sure that they are of age. I do check their ID, but that's like the only two rules that I have. Other than that, everything.
So there's no cleanup duty?
No, actually, no cleanup duty.
Oh, really? Damn, you're interested in like
humiliation, but there's no cleanup duty.
Yeah, I'm all about the cleanup, and I don't even like humiliation. Are you kidding me? Give me that. Slap that right on. Exactly. What about the chastity? You got to be in a chastity, my dude.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the chastity. I have a lot of different ones.
Me too. I got 4 different cages.
Nice.
Wow.
Bro, you got to get the man cage series. Just
Man cage? I haven't seen this one. I have the bird cage one. That's my favorite one to fit. But then I had like the silicone one, and it just like doesn't fit well, and it's like hard like to like get like your skin inside of the inside of the cage, so it's not as fun.
Did you get have you ever had the CB series?
No, I haven't had that one. I've heard those ones are fucking
good. No, they're not.
Oh, they aren't?
The pinch is fucking real. Holy
Cucking should write reviews. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, honestly, you guys should do that. You know what? We should have a second panel where we just talk about chastity, whatever things.
Chastity cages, they're great.
I'm down for that.
That's one thing that I like to all the vanilla guys in audience, especially, and girls, but like when you're playing with your guys. guys do not explore their penis enough. And what I mean by that, like you might jerk off all the times, but like there is so many different ways that you can touch your dick and like play with it and press in certain areas that aren't just like stroke or like fucking side of a hole. And like if you explore that a lot more just with like simple touchings and trying to find out if you have certain spots on you that are really sensitive, like that's amazing. And that's kind of like what chastity like helped me do, like using those cages and stuff. It's like, oh, my dick's like feeling pressure in a different way and it actually feels good. So like definitely guys, explore that a lot, even if you're 100% vanilla. Like get a cage, explore it, get some cock rings, have a good time.
Yeah,
If you're over 18, of
vanilla,
course. This
start
is
sounding, start doing all kinds of stuff.
I don't think I can do sounding. I can't do sounding.
Fuck
Yeah.
sounding. That shit's painful.
That might be too much
What
for
is
me.
sounding?
You get a
You don't know
probe
what
down your
sounding
dick.
is, Cherry?
Do I just yell at your dick? No. what's
No,
up?
Oh,
go
that
ahead
would
and
be
go on
fine.
Google really
What?
quick.
It's
It's when you
a
penetrate the
metal prod.
urethra of a man.
Oh, the sandbox thing. I saw that porn. That was not good.
I don't even want to know what that one is. So we're just gonna.
I didn't know there was a word for that. That was just
Okay,
wrong.
so
There are many words.
I do want, before we get into like call-ins, I guess if there were any topics you guys wanted to whatever, but we haven't addressed Jack Murphy yet. Up to
Yeah,
you guys.
what's that about?
So I'll explain. Yeah, I can explain it really quick because I didn't know what this was.
But
until
who is
today.
Jack Murphy?
So he's one of these guys that is all about like hyper masculinity, and he sold like a masculinity service about how to be a real man. And then it turned out that he had a blog post about cuckolding like way back in the day, and then he did the most bitch move ever by like freaking out about it and like flipping
Yeah.
out and trying like to get everybody to take down everything and stuff instead of just owning it and being like, fuck yeah, this is sexy as hell.
That's funny.
Yeah, so
It was also the
yeah.
fact that he was having sex with other men in front of his wife, and that's what everybody took umbrage with because he was kind of doing the conservative circuit and like trying to get more. He had a huge conservative sound base, like kind of huge customer base, and then at like Sydney Watson accidentally outed him like on a conservative podcast, and everybody's like, "Wait, you're gay?" But yeah, he should have doubled down on it. He should have been like, the only way to actually become the ultimate man is to take dick. That is it. That's what you have to do. You want to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger? Dick. That's how you do it.
He definitely did need to own it because like that insecurity that he had there
Yeah.
was like
It came
really
out.
pathetic.
He's got the
It came
beard,
out
right?
real
The-
fucking
yeah,
hard
yeah,
in that
yeah.
podcast because he turned into a little bitch, like in a few
Fuck
seconds.
you, mom.
He's like, fuck you, legitimately. Fuck
Yeah.
you.
I want to go to my room actually. Like, that's how it
Yeah.
sounded.
Like a very prominent figure in the manosphere, from what I
Yeah.
can tell. Yeah.
And like obviously if you like the subspace, if you like the emasculation, if you like playing with that, hey, more power to you. I'm all down with that. In my experience, so like I just like to all the guys out there that are like interested in this, like cuckolding has given me like way more masculinity. I feel way more masculine, and if I denied this to myself and like denied that I wanted a partner that was promiscuous like this, like that would be like the most beta thing like in my head kind of, because it'd be like I'm letting the world tell me how I should live my life, and like fuck that. A man goes out, he does what he wants to do, he's responsible, and he fucking takes care of him and his family. Like. And
So-
I do all that, so yeah.
So I'm in the same boat as on Primate with the whole cucking thing, but Primate, you when you clearly have the confidence to talk about this and all that. Are you in the same boat then, where it what's the word I'm looking for?
The answer is yes.
You're not a beta, right? You've ascended that in a sense because you've embraced your submissive side, right?
I can say that my masculinity, like I'm very confident in my masculinity in general. But I can say that like when I'm like in the bedroom, I am not masculine at all. I feel like
yeah, but I mean-
a pathetic piece of trash all the time. So
Yeah, but to the person, the Trump supporter, the Trump tard who says, "Oh, you're just a beta cuck and blah blah blah," you say to them, "No, I'm actually more masculine than you because I'm actually more submissive." You know what I mean? Like it's that.
I don't.
Well, I
It's
think
that full
so.
brain-
There was one guy who came to me once, and he was like, if I was ever a cuck, I would Minecraft myself. He didn't say Minecraft. You guys all know what I mean.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So he was saying this, and I like felt so bad for that guy. I'm like, if you knew this like thing about yourself and you found this about yourself, like you would hate yourself for that. And like to me, like that, like hating yourself because of what you are is like one of the most pathetic things that you could do. Especially like all these, super right wing guys that are like, don't hate yourself for being white. Well, don't fucking hate yourself for being a cuck. Don't hate yourself for being gay. Like whatever your identity is, just like embrace that as long as it's consensual adults, you're not hurting anybody, all that good jazz. Like just embrace whatever your identity is. And I think that is like where that masculinity that you're talking about coming in. But it's not even really masculinity. It's just like affirmation and confidence and stuff.
A lot of people kill themselves because they feel their ego dying. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. Like you have a strong tie of your identity, where you go to the store, who you like, what do you do for a living. A lot of people that have lost their jobs, for instance, note that they go through a grief process, just like the loss of somebody in their life. And it's because there are little parts of their identity dying in front of them. So I understand and I empathize with those people. I think the whole masculinity thing, as far as, oh, you're a beta, you're an alpha, the whole entire thing is basically just constellation star talk for men. It's stupid. Every time somebody says that I'm a sigma male, I say that I'm a ligma male, or my male type is dinosaur, and like I'm a dinosaur male. I'm a wolf male. I just think it's just a bunch of role playing. It's just all stupid. It's all
We're doing xenogender here. Listen. The best male to be is delta male, okay? Because delta is a sign of change, and if you thrive on change, there you go. That's the way to do
Hell
it.
yeah,
male.
Delta.
Delta.
I don't
I'm a
think any of those
Philion
matter.
male. Yeah, they don't matter. None
Okay.
of
Not
it
at all.
matters.
Yeah, it's
If
just
I'm
fun.
a beta bitch to somebody, I'll be that. I don't care.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
That's why you
Yeah,
just say yes, I am.
And I think that like a lot of men too are afraid to get in touch with like submissiveness inside of the bedroom. It's awesome to like, number one, it makes your woman empowered. Like if you give that up to her for a little bit, and like for you to just embrace that side of yourself, like there's so much like eroticism there. And if you never explore that side of yourself, like, hey, if you're not into it, if it just doesn't work, you know you best. But like if you're not doing it because you're afraid, like I feel like you're really missing out. And like I just want to reach out to those people and be like, do what you want, try it, learn about yourself,
Embrace
please.
the cuck.
Yeah, embrace the cuck. You
When
are
somebody
all cucks
says
if you're
that you
listening.
are a anything, you really need to get in their face and lean close very carefully and whisper into their ear, I am the ocean. And then don't say anything else, and don't talk to that person ever again. Just let them freak out for a second and walk the fuck away. Because they're so stupid, they'll believe anything, and they'll believe that there's some legitimacy to what you said. You know? This
If I
is
can
not a
cut
very
in,
good world.
Oh, that's great.
I just want to cut in real quick, guys. We're gonna start the call-ins. If anybody has any questions, you can join the Discord and join the lobby, okay? And then I'll pull people in one at a time to ask a question. So
Sweet.
Yeet, yeet, yeet.
I know Dario wanted to call in, I think.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Show.
Where's Cucky's accent from? I can never differentiate between UK and Australia, and I know that's disrespectful.
So Australian born and raised, but it does have a bit of a British.
Oh, so it's your fault. Okay, cool.
Oh, good. Yeah.
He doesn't have the Bogan voice.
Thank God. Thank you.
You got beautiful hair though. You got beautiful hair, Cucky. You gotta
I
respect.
gotta cut it so bad.
He is
Oh,
a
no, you
gorgeous
look
man.
fantastic.
It is scary.
Oh, looks like Dario's here
shit.
already. I'm gonna pull him in, okay?
Mario,
Okay.
like Mario, but he's got the D.
Oh, hi everybody!
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Really nice, nice panel. I actually enjoyed it quite a lot.
Thank you.
It's not often you get to hear like panels on this topic, I guess, or maybe that's just me.
Yeah.
That's what I aim for. So what's your question?
Okay. So I guess it's a little bit of a political question. If you don't want to, so it's for Cucky, and if you don't want to answer, that's fine. But
Go for
yeah,
it.
sure. So you said that you I don't remember if it was you or your partner likes to go for black guys because on average they tend to have a bigger dick or have more stamina. So what I was curious about is, well, generally like when we look for, or like when I look for partners or like think about like somebody in like a sexual way, I can't imagine like looking at a group of people and then using like a generality to look for a partner, because usually that's like a very individual thing, right? So my question is, well, if you're looking for somebody with like a lot of stamina or like a big dick, like why wouldn't you just look for those characteristics rather than using like a generality to sort of inform you?
Well,
If that
the
makes sense.
generality exists. Yeah, the generality exists for a reason. Black dudes are known to have a big schlong,
Yeah,
be more
sure.
physically present in the fuck. But of course, you go onto certain websites and for that are geared towards that, and there's of course, say if 90%, sorry, not 90%, say if 70% of the black population, big schlong, right, big schlongs, and all the other criteria. You go to certain websites that are for that. Of course, now the population is 99% have all that criteria, like what's it called, blackandwhite.com, I think. I don't know. Yeah, it's just all that criteria there that typical other races, other ethnicities just don't have. Empirically so.
I will say there are like a lot of black guys in the lifestyle that do the bull thing because like there is a kink there, so it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, the girls always want the, black guys with the big dicks, so then you go for getting the black guys with the big dicks, and then, you see that in the porn and that. And like it just makes it a self-fulfilling prophecy, so like that's what's selected for.
Yeah.
I've been like out at a lot of swinging events, and definitely not all bulls are black, but like it's definitely a higher percentage of the guys that are willing for that. And
Oh yeah,
I just want to say like
yeah,
and I just want to say, like, on the bull thing, like, a bull isn't just a guy that comes to fuck your girl. Like, there's a lot more into that dynamic. Like, you really gotta, like, have some way, like, to get along with the people. And, like, you're actually bringing in a person. You're not just bringing in a dick, like, into the relationship. So I think, like, that's an important, like, part to just stress on.
They're also there to walk through your tea shop gracefully, might I add.
I also do want to I do want to say that like I just because of like the type of people I argue with on a pretty regular basis, I don't want to make like generalizations about like a certain race. Just because that's something that a lot of race realists actually really play into. I personally don't think that all of that is true. I think a lot of it is like this underlying kind of taboo for a lot of people, and or interracial relationships are still very much like stigmatized in a lot of places. So I think it might be less realized than people know that part of the reason why they want this to happen is because of that taboo. So yeah.
So I guess my question, so I can even recognize that it we can say that it is true, right? We can recognize that. But what I'm asking is basically, so if you imagine like a bell curve of all the schlongs you've ever seen in your life, right?
Okay.
So even if
Oh,
even if
God.
like the black people schlongs are on like the right side of the bell curve of like the big percentages or whatever,
Okay.
like you're not taking all the schlongs of like the right side of the bell curve at the same time, right? You're selecting for the biggest schlongs. So what I'm asking you
Yes.
is, why wouldn't you just select for the biggest schlongs, because it's like a bell curve of schlongs, rather than just say I'm looking for like
Of
the
course,
race?
you're bringing the bell curve into this. Thanks
Let-
for bringing
let
it
me-
full circle.
Why can't we just say dicks?
Yeah,
He's saying he likes
I
the word
just-
schlongs.
I like
It
the word
makes sense with
schlong.
his
It's
accent.
a nice word.
It's
I just use schlong because of thing I put his accent with schlong is just
Yeah.
perfect.
There's no monolithic motive. That's the thing. We always try. Human beings are very apt to try and, unite people's motives, but they're never one and the same. I mean, here we all are talking about the same topic that we all do. In some way. Some of us are trying to get into it. Some of us are practiced in it, and we're all here for different reasons, right? So it points to the fact that if people have been curious about sleeping with a person of another race, there might be reasons why they might be interested, but they're probably multifactored, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
They're
Yeah.
and I
always
don't think it's
multifaceted.
necessarily like I don't think it's necessarily like I'm not in a camp that thinks it's like a racist thing necessarily, right? I can't like I agree with top middle guy. I think I don't really
Ophelia.
know.
Flosny, what's up? Flosny GG. Find me on Twitter and Twitch.
Oh yeah.
And like somebody who
Yes,
said
so just to
basically
be
that
clear.
it can be racist, but not necessarily, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to be clear, it's not just for me and my partner when I, currently single. The point being, doesn't just have to be the BBC, but typically that's what people go for, and what typically I and my partner would go for is because of all the characteristics, not just the big dick, right?
Yeah. The only
So-
thing I would say is like I'm very hesitant to create like a monolith, of a certain race or to like I get we're talking very casually about like sexuality and stuff like that, but I'm very very hesitant about like kind of making this like generalization about a certain race, because that generalization is actually, believe it or not, even though it's a positive generalization, it is an argument that a lot of people who are race realists use as
Yeah.
a supporting thing
That's a
in
fair
their
point.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Well,
well,
yeah.
well,
Well, can
and
I-
to be honest, like a lot of like the old racial stereotypes that like you can like read in the books. There was one guy who like compared like the distance that like African men like ejaculate versus like the brain size of like white people. Like this is back in the
What the
1800s.
fuck?
Some
Yeah.
weird
Yeah, I
shit.
remember that.
It's some
Yeah.
weird shit. You can look it up.
The history of
It's-
science is very
Yeah.
strange. It turns out.
It's really weird. So like there's definitely like some weird undertones you have to like anybody like can have a big dick. Anybody can have fucking can be a cuck. Like
Can-
the way that I actually got into this was actually shocker for everyone, I actually have a big dick, which is why like the small penis humiliation doesn't work for me. But I first got into
It's
it
a
being a bull.
curse.
Actually, I fucked a girl like in front of her husband, and when I was just like in my swinging phase, and I was like, shit, like she wants him like so much more. Like we had fun and everything, and like it's not like she like threw me away after, but it's just like, oh, like the connection that her and the cuck had was just like way better. So that's like what got me more into it.
The curse of the small penis humiliation, where you're into it, but you're
You got a
either
big
pretty
dick.
good or you got a big dick. It's like-
Mhm. True.
I have a question. I have a question for Cucky, just to kind of add nuance. Do you use any like non-monogamous websites like Cassidy or Swing Lifestyle?
No, it's just fet basically.
So are you
That or
using like
Instagram.
FetLife? How do you get in contact with these people?
Instagram and FetLife.
Okay, so you do use FetLife,
Hmm.
and
Yes, I do.
when you are on FetLife, when you add what you're looking for, it does like is African American in the tags that like people that you're looking to play with?
Oh no,
Okay.
that's typically found at Munches.
Oh. So, but size queen like is in your tags. You would say that of people
That's
that you're
that's all.
looking to
That's
play
all
with?
of my porn tags. Yeah. All
Yeah,
of my
yeah, yeah,
bookmarks, yeah.
Yeah. So
Um,
it's not technically exclusively African American. It's just more.
Oh no,
that your
as I said
partner-
before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah,
He's
that
not-
did require nuance. Yeah.
Right. He's not going. In other words, he's not going out into the world and going like, I only want black men to sleep with my significant other. Like he's
Yeah.
looking for people that have big wieners. It just so happens to be that a lot of them end up being African American.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Okay,
another.
we
like
heard
I
his
said before-
own words. You don't have to run defense for him, all right? It's not working.
I'm just
Well,
checking.
it is. I do just want to stress that like
Better
the idea
ask
that
than
like you're getting
assume,
with
right?
somebody. The idea that you're getting with somebody different is attractive too, and I think that
Yeah.
if like you're using it to play like to more levels of difference, I think that's like kind of the healthier way that you can look at it, because it's like, oh, okay, this person isn't like better or worse or like doesn't have this racial stereotypical. They're just different than me in all these various ways.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
fair
just
enough, yeah.
I just think it's important also to like say that there is a difference, right? And be sure that people know like there's a difference between like actively seeking out people of a race and just by happenstance finding people of a certain race.
we should have the one bull in here weigh in if he has anything to say. JPEG.
I mean, everybody was talking earlier, and I didn't want to cut anybody off, but, I mean, yeah, all I would just say is like, it may be like something may be statistically true, and like we can acknowledge that, but we also shouldn't apply those statistics to individuals. So like,
Yeah.
to make like an analogy, like it may be statistically true, for example, that black people disproportionately commit more crime in America, but that's not an excuse to like be wary of every single individual black person because you think they may be a criminal. So like you could say the same thing about, you know, the schlong stereotype.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure, for sure. Any other questions from the audience? Damn.
Have nobody else?
Yeah, seriously.
I think there's someone in
Come
the
on, guys.
lobby.
Yeah, there's
there is?
Vegeta Fajita, which is a great
Oh,
name, by
no.
the way.
Ooh.
In
Yeah.
the lobby.
I remember them. Okay, let me drag them
He's
in.
Halo
Let's see
Life.
how good they are with that name.
You can just kick me if you want, or
Up to you, Dario. Vegeta Fajita, you have a question?
Hey, yeah, so I just want to clarify something real quick. The 3 cucks, you guys are full-on cucks where only your partner has other people. Is that correct?
That is for me. I don't think it's for everybody on the panel. Well, I think it's for Cucky too. But yeah.
I'm down to cuck the misses when I do have one again. But typically it's just me, right? I technically I come switch, but I'll heavy preference for sub, right? So
Okay.
yeah.
So I guess my question is, where does like the attraction for that come from? Why are you attracted to only your partner having sex with other people?
So I borrow a little bit from GG there with the sexual exploration of the partner and the beat down of the patriarchy and so forth. I can agree to that fully. But then it's I'm just trying to think how to word this. Someone else answer. I'll try and reword it.
I personally like the asymmetry of the relationship a lot because I kind of get the best of both worlds. I have the one thing I like about cuckolding is like I talk with a lot of other non-monogamy people and they shit on monogamy a lot, and it kind of gets annoying to me because you can have like a really fulfilling, loving relationship with monogamy in it, and I like that cuckolding allows me to like give my full monogamy to somebody and then have their full sexual exploration. And one of the reasons that I specifically fall into this dynamic is because when I was younger, I was very sexually explorative. I was with a lot of different partners. I've been with a lot of different women. I've had every single type of sex that you can imagine, pretty much. And I've done that, and it hasn't been as exuberant for me. Whereas when I focus on one person and focus on their exploration as a woman and like focusing on her like feminine sexuality and then exploring that fully, it's kind of like I'm like planting a seed and then growing it, and like then the fruit gets like to be shared with all. So like it's, I don't know, that's not the best analogy, I
Just
guess.
like
but
he's
that's what came to
planting
me.
a seed. Just like he's planting a seed.
Hey,
Yep.
there we go.
There's a good question from the audience. How can your fetish not be based in humiliation if he's getting his dick locked up?
Getting locked up has nothing to do with humiliation. I like getting it locked up because then it's like she has my dick. Like she wears like her key like around her neck, like when she goes out all day, and then it's like, you know, it's like I'm like ready for the day. It's like I'm putting on my suit of armor, and like she's like my queen. So it's like I don't know. I don't feel any humiliation from that at all. On the opposite, I feel like masculine. I feel like shit. My girl like might fuck all these other guys, but I'm the only one that she locks up and like has that key around her neck and like flaunts. Like I'm the only one who gets that.
It's intimate.
But
Yeah.
do you
it's super
think you associate humiliation with positive sexual feelings though? Because that does sound like you're completely like giving yourself to someone else, and I think that there is a humiliation aspect to that.
Is it humiliating to be like a knight serving a queen?
Sure.
I don't see it that way. Like it depends like how you define the words. Like it's like I feel good about myself and
He's
myself.
clearly not humiliated about it.
Yeah, so I don't. It's like
Like if I was to
humiliation-
come across, if me and him were to work together, say if we had at the same place of work, and he was to tell me about this openly, he's clearly not humiliated by it, right? So there is no humiliation. There could be humiliation play, but that would have to be between them and mutually. But he's not humiliated to express this, right?
I don't feel like it's hot for the same reasons either. As somebody who's participated in humiliation play, I don't feel like it. I just don't feel like it has anything to do with it. No.
So I guess it's
Sorry.
more the submission aspect that is. So, sorry if I interrupted you,
No,
Stardust.
go ahead. Go ahead.
So I guess you guys are more attracted to like the complete submission aspect, because at least the knight in shining armor guy sounds like he's completely submissive to his partner.
It's not really
It
about.
it sounds like
submission.
worship. to
Yeah,
me.
it's kind of like a different it's like if you're serving something, are like you necessarily submissive to it? The only reason that I'm
Yes,
hesitant to use that language,
that would
the,
be
the,
the
well, real
definition
quick,
of
Yeah.
the reason why I'm hesitant to use that language is because like I see other people that are in like that BDSM relationship and they have that power exchange, and it's not the same thing. What I'm really into is the compersion aspect of it, of making sure that my partner is getting everything and then some, that she's getting an abundance of things that she wants, not like scarcity at all. So it's like much more focused on compersion than it is humiliation or anything else like that. But if my partner wanted to do like humiliation aspect, then because I like that compersion, because I want to please her, I'd be willing to do that. But if she also wanted me to be dominant, then I do that too. So
I do. Can I just add, because I feel like whenever I do something like this where I'm talking publicly about like open relationships or alternative relationship styles, and now like with kink play, I think that just because you don't experience humiliation doesn't mean that that's not something that people can like shouldn't expect going into this.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's a pretty big foundation of what cuckoldry is, and I think you have a very experienced, or maybe just like a very comfortable situation like with it, and like you yourself are very confident in it, and um it can it gives off a very different understanding of what I know cuckoldry to be.
For the first time, definitely, you could have the fantasy of it for years, decades even, of the fantasy of it, and be all confident, and have numerous experiences in other aspects of your sexuality with numerous partners. But the first time you're either watching or otherwise your partner have sex with another person, it can rip you right out of it, right? So they always have to be prepared for that. So even on the second time, even on the third time.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of times when people have fantasies, they actually experience them, that experience of that fantasy actually ends up being different from what they initially thought, you know? And it's like it's still good, but it's like completely different from what they thought they were going to get out of it.
But sometimes it can scare them off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just totally rape play, right? If that's a person could have that fantasy for so long, but then once, even though it's a full play, it can freak them the fuck out and it just kills the mood, right? So it's heavily.
Also,
I know Dario had. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. I have a question. So when you say, Cherry, when you say humiliation, what exactly do you mean? Like you keep saying an aspect of humiliation. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think I did clarify. It's watching your partner be satisfied by another individual is going against societal norms, and society would look at you as inadequate, specifically in that situation, sexually inadequate. And that in and of itself is humiliating.
that's weird to me that like you're tying like the societal norm. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just not.
It just
It's not something
never
that
comes into my head at all.
Yeah, like never.
Okay, if it was all the way normal for us to just sit down and watch our partner get fucked, then why does anybody do it?
What do you mean normal?
Because I like seeing her get off a lot.
It's different, right?
Different
What do
as
you mean?
as
It wouldn't be
opposed to-
different.
It's
for me, no.
different from just fucking your partner.
No, it's different from fucking my partner. Well, because I'm not fucking, but like the intimacy like feels pretty much the same. Like there isn't. I don't know what you mean by it feels different.
You feel as close to your partner when they are fucking someone else as you do when you are fucking them.
Do you think that people in Utah feel humiliated when they don't have sex with their wives through a sheet on their bed?
I don't. What's
follow.
in Utah?
Are you talking about
Well,
Mormons?
the LDS
that
church
are-
is concentrated in Utah, so it would be societally normal there for people to practice Mormon sexual tradition.
I
So,
do think
do you
a
think
lot
that-
of Mormons do feel shame about sex if you just look at their things. Like, what's that thing they call when they just like stick the tip in and not move? They
Yeah.
do
Never
have
mind.
weird views on sex in
Well,
general.
yeah,
I
but
don't think
that's
you need to focus on society, right?
Yeah,
It's the fact that if you're watching or you just know your partner is fucking someone else, it's them getting off with someone else, right? I don't think you need to incorporate a societal norm into this at all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
okay.
some people it might. For some people, for sure, that societal norm might be a very important part of it, but
Yeah, I'm just trying to
necessarily
understand.
everybody.
I'm
Yeah.
just trying to understand basically what she means.
Maybe just saying societal norms is like triggering people, but we're raised to believe or to understand when we pick a partner that that partner loves us and we love them and we're enough for that person and they're enough for us. So sitting there and watching them get pleased, satisfied by another person is in and of itself a humiliating feeling.
So I think the reason why I don't feel that way is because I never felt that way. Like I never felt
Yeah.
like a girl that was being monogamous to me was giving me anything. I never felt like it was loving or attractive. Like I felt very disconnected from that and dispassionate from it. And I didn't understand for a long time, especially when I first like got introduced, but like first like found cuckold porn. I'm like, oh, that's not me. Like I don't like this humiliation stuff. I don't like this degradation. Like I'm very masculine. I can't get into this. And it was like after learning that like, oh, I can have this dynamic without like I can have the dynamic of an open partner that and explore her sexuality without this other side of like the humiliation aspect of it. So like I got into it like specifically because I wasn't into cuckold or I wasn't into humiliation. Then I was like, oh, I can still have cuckolding like without that. So I just
But
like
could you say that?
I'm just wired different, I guess.
Could you say though that that's the exception to the rule in essence?
Yes.
Because
Yeah, I'm definitely in the minority.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't feel I don't feel that way as well. I mean, the situations that I've watched my wife have sex with somebody else, it was because we went to a place with the intention of having sex with other people, and she is a woman, so it was much easier for her to find somebody to have sex with. And that was fine. Like it wasn't. I guess it's because a majority of these situations happen in group sex settings for me.
I think you just need to work on your sweet talk, dude.
Well,
I
I
agree
think
with you.
um
I definitely
the
from
other
you
thing
that
about
makes sense.
what Vegeta said before about like why do you like the one-way monogamy of it? A lot of it is like that gender dynamic. Like me like going out and trying to find a girl that I can bring in like to hook up with with my girl there. Like that has a different gender dynamic about it, a different like aspect when we go out versus like when there's a whole bunch of guys like trying to win her over. So like that different aspect I like a lot.
So you like the fact that she doesn't need to even try to get laid, whereas if it was you, you would have to seek out and actually try to obtain a new sex partner?
Kind of. It's more that like it's there's not like a better word for this, but it's kind of like predatory as a guy, like you're hunting like for a girl like to come back and bring with you versus like
Yeah,
where
that's
she's
the
going
fun
like
part.
if you like that, like sure. It's not enjoyable for me.
Okay,
So I do want to give Dario a chance to ask a question as well, and we do have a few more questions from the audience.
Shoot.
Yeah. Did you have a question, Dario? Still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't. Maybe you have already covered this because I wasn't here at first. But so I remember you talked about the term cuck, like cuck or whatever. When people use it as a pejorative. So this is like something I've heard around the internet, but I just wanted to know like how true it is. So if you're into like the humiliation aspects of like cuckoldry or whatever, does it make you like does it do something for you that other people call you a cuck by like trying to humiliate you? Like is that a thing
Typically
or
not. You wouldn't find that. No. I mean, there might be someone, but typically not. The
Yeah, they're calling you it in a
humiliation
different
aspect.
context.
Wait, let's
Yeah.
ask the humiliation guy.
The
Yeah.
humiliation aspect is going to come from that it's your partner doing it, the bull or the social settings you find that in, right? If like one of you guys, I'm a cuck, right? If one of you guys was to insult me about this, me personally, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't get me off. It doesn't insult me, or
Yeah.
So it just depends. But typically, you won't find someone getting off on the fact that they're being called a cuck by people online.
Well, hold on. What about you, Odd Primate? I know that you are more of a submissive guy.
Yeah, me personally, like I said, I love getting verbally abused, but the word cuck, if someone tried to like, make fun of me like, oh, you're a cuck, ha ha ha, it doesn't do anything. I don't find the word personally attacking. I know it's a funny word. Like I said in the beginning, I personally don't even call myself a cuck. Like in the setting, I normally just say I just do open relationships only. And then whenever I get into a relationship, I explain like, yeah, I'm into letting my partner screw other people, and I find that very satisfying. So,
Yeah. I mean, it does about as much for me as somebody calling me gay because it's the same thing. So
Right.
it's like, okay, cool.
So I have some other questions from the audience, if that's okay for you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for the raid, by the way, Brittany. And okay, so
Oh, by the way, like, subscribe, gift subs, do all the good things because Stardust hosts awesome panels like this. From this to the Human Centipede to any other crazy thing that you want to talk about, you can only find it here on
Human
twitch.tv/Stardust.
Stardust.
We're not even going to get into it.
thank you so
Stardust
much.
is awesome.
I really
I've watched that
appreciate
one
it. You know, I try to explore things that the average person doesn't explore. Yeah. Right. Okay. From Zonia. I don't understand any of this, so my only question is, if you could safely and humanely hug any one non-human animal, what animal would that be?
Oh,
An
Jesus.
orca.
An orca. Okay.
Yeah, I love orcas. They're the wolves of the sea, and if you've ever seen like how smart they are and like how they work together with families, like sometimes I just wish I could be an orca in like a non-global warming, like human polluting planet.
Cool. How
Rest
about
of
you,
you?
Cucky?
What was the question?
If you could
It's-
hug a
Safely hug.
non-human animal safely, which one would it be?
A lion or a what do you call it? Cheetah. Either one of those two.
Okay.
No pun intended.
Okay. Cool.
You guys are missing the obvious joke. You're all supposed to say a bull.
Right.
Very funny. Yeah.
I've hugged a bull. It's happened.
Well, it's there's also stag vixen dynamic, and the stag is like the antler guy, which is like the cuck, and the vixen is like the fox lady. So maybe we should actually want to hug the fox.
hugged a stag too. Shot it first. I would
Hey.
probably say a grizzly bear.
A grizzly
Same
bear.
based.
Because I feel like it would be, again, this is kind of part of the same thing with the kind of the motive is like it would be so scary, but at the same time, like once I'd done it, I feel like it would feel really good.
Yeah, they look like giant like beanbags.
Yeah, I think it would
Yeah.
be cool.
That's a good way
Uh,
to describe him.
I think it's primate. Well, odd primate. Did you have an answer?
Obviously, it's orangutan.
Yeah. So this is going to be kind of, funny because my name, but I would probably do a silverback gorilla. I know that they can, kill somebody instantly, but they are very cool creatures. So
You gotta have
Yeah.
big
I do wanna
balls
say-
to hug one of those.
That'd be
What
so
about you,
cool.
Cherry?
Just my cat.
Your cat. Your
Wait, you
cat
can't
is very
safely
good.
hug.
Your cat is.
What'd you
very-
say?
Can you not safely hug your cat now, or you can?
No, I can. I just would like to
Okay.
continue doing that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I do want to say I wish that we could or that we had thousands of years ago domesticated bears. Like if we had like little bear
Yeah.
puppies that we could just have. Like oh my god, that'd be so
Oh,
cute.
that
That'd be
so
so
cool.
cute.
That'd be so cool.
They're called cubs, right?
Yes. Oh, they're so cute.
Okay, another one is, do any of them know on a deeper level how their partner feels about the experiences? Is it more for physical for them? Is it a mutual experience? Is it more a domination type thing? Or is it more for the cuck?
for me, it's the domination aspect. I love being dominated. So
Do
Yeah,
you
I
know
think
how
it's
your
different
partner
for-
feels? though?
The question was though
How
what
your
the
partner
The
feels.
partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, sorry, I didn't hear that first
Yeah.
part. My bad. I only heard the last part.
Yeah, I would only get into it if they're open to it. You don't want to force the person, right? Even if I'm the full sub, I don't want. If they don't like it, we can forget it, right?
Yeah. My wife is actually the one who enjoys being humiliated. She is a sub. She likes to be beaten in front of other people, and she likes to be kind of demeaned and kind of like one thing that gets her going is like if I'm calling her like derogatory, like if I'm calling her a slut, like if I'm calling her a whore, that she likes that. She plays into that stereotype, and and I'm the angry husband when she gets back home, and that's just her thing. She really enjoys that. That's the character that she enjoys putting on the makeup of, in
Yeah.
in the bedroom.
I'm going to move a couple of you guys out, by the way, the ones who are asking questions, unless you have anything else. So.
Oh, I had one question.
Okay,
So
let's let them finish. Then
Okay.
answering what they think their partner feels about it, and then
Okay.
Because my like the dynamic that I have and the different like women that like I've been like involved with in the lifestyle, it's very all the girls that I've been with have always described it as very empowering. They feel like they can like take their sexuality back and do what they want, and they don't have to be like constrained one way or another. The whole like point of cuckolding in my view is that it's like a female focused lifestyle. Like it's focused like on like making sure that she's like gonna have like all of her empowerment sexually. So that's like been, especially with me and the bull, like both like focusing on her. That's been our dynamic and what she's expressed to me, as well as the other women that she's like made friends with in the lifestyle.
okay. Anybody else want to answer? Or
Would you say, if I could briefly, Gigi, would you say that you're more into FLR?
I do like aspects of FLR, but the only reason sometimes I'm like not willing to take like the full label is because like I talk to people that are in those relationships, and then they're like, "Oh, you don't do this, 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 and this," and so I don't want to like
I get
step
you.
on their toes necessarily. But I do like the FLR aspects, a lot of it. And for anybody who doesn't know, it's female-led relationship. I do like certain aspects about that, especially with like household things. I like her to decide like how we're going to decorate, what we're going to be having for dinner most of the time, and stuff like that. So like I like letting her make the decision on that kind of stuff and kind of embracing that aspect.
I like when she leads, especially like decorating my house and making me food.
Same.
When she paints a ceiling for me, I appreciate it.
A cold sweat just came over the back of my
Cleans
neck
everything.
really bad. I was like, okay. I wouldn't know how to organize our relationship. We're just partners. All the shit that needs to get done, we just get it done together.
I'm not really sure if I can answer this. My husband and I are primaries, but our sexual adventures outside of our relationship are separate. So my cuck queening will be with a separate partner from my husband.
Okay.
Same.
Okay. Another question.
Could I ask Sherry just one question?
Sure.
And you don't have to answer this if you don't want. Do you find yourself naturally as like dom, sub, or switch?
Probably naturally a dominant person.
Okay, that's interesting for the cuck queen thing. Very interesting.
I don't think it's interesting. I want to feel jealous, and then I want to have my shining moment at the end.
Nice.
All right.
Thank you for the raid, Mitch. Thank you for the raid. There's somebody else who raided in earlier. Skylar.
Mitch been rated with 6 viewers.
One other question is, does the cage chafe?
Yes. Make sure you take it off every night, and you clean yourself, and you wash, and you use lotion. Don't use baby powder. That's stupid. Whoever tells you to use baby powder. Make sure you clean yourself regularly. Find one that fits.
Lots of lotion.
Yeah.
Helps.
If it doesn't fit, it's the pinch, depending on the device, it's horrible.
Mm-hmm. And I would say that the ones that have the dangly lock versus like the cylindrical lock, the dangly lock will eventually there'll be like little pinches throughout like the day and stuff. So like just get the one that is a cylindrical lock.
If you use a metal lock, cover it in rubber bands, because that thing just clanks and clanks and clanks.
Or a Band-Aid works too if you put a Band-Aid around it.
Yeah, actually, I haven't tried that actually.
I got you.
I should use that.
I know Vegeta had one more question.
Yeah, so during the actual act of cucking, what are you guys doing? Are you masturbating? Are you caged up? What's going on during it?
Whatever she wants. I personally like to sit there with a whiskey in one hand, a blunt in another hand, caged up and ready to be let out until it's done. That's what
I was about to say the same thing, but I was afraid everybody was about to say I was joking. But yeah, drinking usually drinking.
Just chilling, basically,
Chilling.
and
For
watching.
me, it could be.
Yep.
For me, it could be being tied up in the cage, not all that fun stuff. I'm not even present. Like I could be at work or whatever. And she does the thing, right? So it's
It can be really hot too if she like texts you like throughout the time or like gives you a call and like you just hear like like having like that different there's so another
You're a man of
aspect
culture, I see.
Yeah, oh, I definitely think so. Like the denial aspect of it is really hot too. And like this is another thing for vanilla people. Like use denial in your sex life. You guys are at work all day. You can like use denial in a completely vanilla way. So like playing with that denial aspect is really a hot part of it.
So how does your dick feel in the cage? Is it just like cramped and?
Depends on the size.
It's like
what size do you guys prefer then?
They don't like have like
standard. Yeah.
Yeah. They have. It's not like shoes. You can't be like I'm wearing 11.
One size fits all.
Of course, it fucking hurts when you start to get aroused, right? Because it's like it's. Yeah, it's bad.
What really only hurts, I thought, is like the cock ring around the base, like around the balls, like my shaft and everything. Just feels like there's pressure on it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's immense pressure. Holy shit. I've got to get a new one because mine is too small. Like it's a CP1000, I think, and it's just not. It's just getting it in there. It's like you have to. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's fucking horrible. So yeah, I don't know.
Oh, boo-hoo! Your dick's too big.
Struggle is real.
The struggle's real. So guys, we have reached 9 o'clock. I meant to keep this about 2 hours long because I don't want people to get tired out. And I think short and sweet is better. But if you guys have any closing statements you want to say or anything like that, and I'm going to shout out you guys if you guys have like a channel or something like that. So,
yeah. My name's Cherry. If you are a female who is interested in getting me cucked, DM me. I'm sorry, sir. I'm using your. I'm using you as advertisement. Do I have a type? Enthusiastically consenting.
Awesome.
Well, does your man have a type? Because they're going to be hooking up with him, right?
I don't think they have a type.
I would say embrace the cock.
There you go.
Embrace.
I guess I can go next, and Stardust isn't like telling us who has to go next, so we all have to do what we're going to do without that female direction.
I'm sorry. Okay, you know what? If you guys would have any also closing things you wanted to say about it, or anything else, so yeah, feel free. So.
I just want to say, I think that, this panel shows like how diverse like this whole idea of one-way non-monogamy is. Whether you call it cucking, stag vixen, hot wife, like there's so many different ways that you can engage with it. And I wish that like more people would be open with themselves so they could just find what they really want in a partner and the type of dynamic that'll really satisfy them, instead of either being so picky that they never find anybody good, or being so desperate that they keep hooking up with people that they're not actually compatible with. So I mean, just explore what works for you the best, even if you're in a vanilla relationship, and whether whether you're monogamous, whether you're cuck, whether you're poly, like just make sure that you're consenting adults, that you guys are always talking, having good communication, and making sure that whatever you guys are doing, that you guys have a blast doing it. Awesome. Oh, also FlosneyGG Twitter, FlosneyGG TV for Twitch, all that good stuff.
Oh, okay. TV at the end for Twitch. Okay. Guys, here's Flosney's. I typed it wrong again.
How dare
Twitch. And then it's just FlosneyGG for Twitter.
Yeah, FlosneyGG for Twitter. I actually made a Twitch with FlosneyGG, but then like I forgot the password, so I had to figure out how to do it, and this is where we are.
Awesome.
How about you, Cucky?
Yeah, no, I've got nothing.
You don't have a stand-up career that you're trying to kindle into life? What about a modeling career?
Oh God,
please, for me.
Yeah, no, I've already got all my career sorted. So no, it's just as I said, embrace the car, have fun with it. That's
nice.
I got no political Twitch or Twitter or anything like that, so it's just nothing.
Nice. Yeah, I do politics too. If anybody wants to know, politics is actually my main thing. This is a fun thing.
Yeah. I guess I'll go next. I'm starting a political stream for YouTube.com, .com, called Pedantic Panda. And one of the people that I really want to destroy the shit out of is Adam Friended, because he went on a tirade about non-monogamy, and I'm about to absolutely rip his asshole open on the ethics of non-monogamy. Coming to you live from the free world, a steel chair from the audience thrown across Adam Friended's dumbass right-wing head. Thank you very much.
Link us your
Pedantapant.
YouTube.
Yes.
Okay,
I will. I will.
awesome.
I have to go soon. Take care of
Oh,
my
okay.
kid.
No problem. No problem. Just
Love you,
send it
King.
to me.
I will. I will.
Yeah.
And
JPEG?
also watch
Oh, sorry.
Stardust. Stardust is the shit.
JPEG.
Yeah, I don't really have anything. I'm a nobody. I'm just a poor, struggling college student. So yeah.
Oh, no Twitter or anything like that.
No, I actually got rid of my Twitter like a year ago because I hate Twitter and I hate the internet. So
Wow.
Based.
That's disgustingly healthy.
and it's kind of sad because I think I had like 12K followers, but I was on Twitter way too much, so I got rid of it.
Wow. All right, Odd Primate.
I don't have anything to say on the whole cuck aspect. I think we pretty much covered like everything. But all I can say is to anybody to explore your sexuality, to get out there and at least try it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But anyways, yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Twitch at Odd Primate. It's the same on both. So.
Odd Primate. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I know it's not super easy to talk about your sexuality online, which is why, I have trouble doing it. So, I figured why not just make other people do it? So, yeah, this is really fun, very informative. So, yeah.
Hey, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank
Awesome.
you.
Oh, and then I do also want to say, I want to call it Mr. Girl. You say that you talk to people that are misunderstood and people that get maligned and stuff. After his talk with Richard Spencer, I want to talk with that guy. So I'm calling him out to talk with him about the cuckolding.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell him that he's scary and also hot.
Very hot.
Tell him to
Somebody
call
clip
me.
it.
Tell him to call me because I'm like 1,000 times more scary and hot than him. All right, peace.
Bye. Thank you guys again. I hope you had
Bye.
fun. That was fun, guys. Oh my gosh, I hope you had fun. I had so much fun. What did you think, chat? Also, guys, if you like the content, I'm going to be doing a weird panel. I'm going to try to do a weird panel at least like twice a month. The next thing I'm thinking is either VTubers or furries.
Brown, savage, disgusting animal.
I thought it was interesting, got a little cocky. Very funny. So yeah, we'll see. If there are any people that you would like me to organize a panel full of, let me know.